Merry Christmas and welcome to the third edition of games I finished this year. So this year is 2024, I started in 2022. Last year it was all about roguelites, the year before that it was all about narrative driven games. This year it's there's a little bit more variety on the menu, so just go get a drink. We are here for at least 30 minutes. Let's get this started. So the first game I finished this year was the Oregon Trail. I've played it through Apple Arcade. It's basically a management game. Like you get four random people that need to walk from the where do they start from? Anyway, they have to walk through the whole United States up to Oregon. And you have to manage them. They will get sick. They will hurt themselves. You will need food. You know your little wagon will break, and you'll have to repair. You'll have to go hunt. You'll meet other people, some good, some bad, and it's all quite random, so every run is not the same. Most of the time you die, but at some point you get to Oregon, and it was very satisfying for me to get this done. Fantastic game, highly recommended. It's on pretty much everything. It's a remake of a very old game, and this is a lot of fun. Next is Trails to Azure, and I will keep the name private because they asked me to not say they did it, but it was a gift from one of you, my regular viewers. So it was amazing. I've played Trail from Zero last year. Trails is a big series of JRPGs where the world building is very good. And so and it's all kind of interconnected. There's a lot of characters that go from one Trails series to another. You know, you have Trails in the Sky 1, 2, 3, and then you have Trails of Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have Trails from Zero, Trails to Azure, and then there's a bunch of others, but this is where I'm at. I haven't played the newer ones, but anyway, last year I played Trails from Zero. It was pretty much my favorite Trails game. And this year I've played Trails to Azure, which was even better than Trails from Zero. So it was a lot of fun. It was a gift. I greatly enjoyed it. I cannot thank you enough. I won't say who you are, but thank you. Thank you very much. It was an amazing game. Amazing JRPG. You really need to play Trails from Zero before Azure, but you could play Trails from Zero as your first Trails game and playing, you know, or you could start with Trails of Cold Steel, but you should start with the first one, obviously. But all of those series, they're all somewhat interconnected. Some NPCs even go from one to another, and there's a lot of reading, but it's a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. After that, I've played my second favorite games of all time, which is Nier Automata. I got all the endings, I got the Platinum Trophy. I've played this quite a bit, and it's such an amazing game. I've made a convoluted talk video about it, and it was titled like, "No game is for everyone." Is it though? Like, I think that Nier Automata is a game for everyone. That said, it's rated M for mature, so maybe not everyone, but it can be super challenging. It can be super easy, because when you switch to easy mode, you can toggle a feature where the characters will just do all the fighting for you, so it's, you cannot die. It can be incredibly easy. If you put it on hard, it can be incredibly hard, and you have to manage your abilities and your timings to get through the game. And the story is so good. You kind of have to play the game many times to get really through it. It's more like some chapters. When you finish the game the first time, you feel, okay, well, that's somewhat anticlimactic. It's kind of weird. And then the credits roll, and then you get a prompt saying like, oh, you should really play this again, like really. And then you start the game again, and then you play as another character, and it's incredible. And then you play the game again, and then you see what's coming up after. I don't want to spoil the whole thing. I mean, it's kind of an old game now, but still, it's so good. It's really, really good. The gameplay is good. The soundtrack is incredible. Like, I'm still listening to the soundtrack on my commute to work. It's Nier Automata is a game for everyone, at least everyone who's an adult, and yeah, highly recommended. It ended up being my second favorite game of all time. My favorite game of all time, if you care to know, is Scourgebringer. I've played this quite a bit this year, but I won't talk about Scourgebringer in this particular video. There's a whole playlist on the channel. Go watch that. Scourgebringer is my favorite game of all time, but Nier Automata is a very close second. It's fantastic. All right. Then I've played. I have a little series on the channel called William Owen's Apple Arcade Adventure. It's a series where I play 15 to 20 minutes of an Apple Arcade game, and I just tell people what I think about it as just really first impression. And so that was my plan with Alba, a wildlife adventure, and I ended up playing the whole thing. I was on strike during that time. I got on a big strike at work. We were out for 110 days, I think. And basically I had all my mornings free, and so I've made a lot of videos, played a lot of games, and so I was doing this Apple Arcade Adventure video, and I ended up playing the whole thing. It's just like 3-4 hours long, but it's about a kid basically who's on an island, and she's taking wildlife pictures, and then there's this mayor who wants to sell the island to a greedy dude that wants to build a resort, and you have to, you know, work this all out as a kid. But it's just so fun to explore. There's no threat. You cannot die. You just wander around, take pictures, and enjoy the story. It was just a relaxing and fun experience. It's available on Steam. If I remember correctly, it's like $20. I think it's a bit much for what it is, but as an Apple Arcade game that I've played on 2-3 days, it was great. I enjoyed it for what it was. Then another Apple Arcade game. I've played Air Twister. It was another Apple Arcade adventure, and it ended up on my top 50 games of all time video. Goddamn. It's made by Yu Suzuki. Yu Suzuki made Space Harrier and Outrun and Shenmue, among a few other games. And this is like a rail shooter. Think, well, Space Harrier of course, but Star Fox. This is a rail shooter that everybody knows. So this is kind of Star Fox. You're Princess Arch, and you have to defend your kingdom from aliens. and then you shoot. You move around the screen and you shoot, and it's crazy good. It's just crazy good. I worked a lot on this game during the strike, and I got the a super rare achievement where you go through the whole game without getting hit, because if you get hit once, you die and you go back to the beginning. The game is like 13 minutes long, but it's a very intense 13 minutes. And the soundtrack, it's like it's by Valencia, and it sounds like Queen, like the band Queen. And you have this soundtrack with vocals and like prog rock, like, and you shoot alien. It's out there. I'm telling you. You'll see some footage here, but it's crazy, and it's on every platform you can think of, from PC to Switch to PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile. It's just amazing. I ordered the Super Deluxe edition, and it's not even in production yet, so I've paid for this, and I hope that next year I will get it. Until then, I'm playing on my iPad, but it's just an amazing game. I have a bunch of videos on the channel about Air Twister. It's great. All right. Then, now we're getting like in April during the year. And in April, it's my birthday. And on my birthday, I got a PS5. And so what I did, because I was on strike, I did not have a lot of revenue to try out some games on my PS5. And one of the things I do is I often borrow games from the library, because our library here is lending games, and it's free. You can bring the game home for a week. And so this is kind of my PS Plus or Game Pass. But I was on strike, and I work at the library, so I couldn't go to the library. So didn't have access to the library, didn't have a lot of money. So what I did is I've bought myself a month of PS Plus, and every morning I was playing games, basically. And one of the games I've played during those mornings, because I've played a bunch of games I did not finish. Here I'm talking about the games I rolled the credits on. So one of the games I finished, and I did it on stream, it was What Remains of Edith Finch. So this is a walking simulator where you play as Edith Finch. Actually, well, let's keep it at that. And you experience, you're a member of a family that's kind of quote-unquote cursed, and everybody in the family died in a horrible or stupid way. And you go back to the family estate, and you experience the death of all the family members throughout like 150 years or something. There's a bunch of people that died, and you play as each of those people and you see how they died. Some are a bit troubling, disturbing, really. There's one scene that involved a baby, so I'll leave it at that. I was on stream with Gru Bitten and Mike and maybe DPZP. I'm not too sure. Ishan probably came, but anyway. And a few people just, peace out after this scene. It was kind of rough. But What Remains of Edith Finch is a lot of fun, and it was a very pleasant surprise to play for quote-unquote free on PS Plus. Really enjoyed it. It's a pretty short game, it's like 2 hours, and you wander around and experience all those stories. Then I did something stupid. I've played, like I said, keep in mind, I have a lot of free time during those few months. I try to occupy my brain. It was a stressful time. It was rough. We were outside in the snow and in the cold, and there was a lot of uncertainties. And I've played the Stellar Blade demo, and I played it. I recorded the gameplay, and god damn, I loved the demo. I was playing it just because I was curious, and it was a demo, it was free, and well, everybody's talking about it, why not try it out? And oh my god, I enjoyed it, and I've bought the game on day one. Costed me like $90. That, you know, it was not a smart move, but I ended up playing the game 3 times. I've made a few videos on it. One of those videos got like 50,000 views. It was crazy. For my channel, you know, most of my videos sit around 100 views, so 55,000 is a lot. And Stellar Blade is such a good game. There's a lot of similarities to Nier Automata in how it plays and how it looks a bit and how it sounds, because the studio who made the Nier Automata music made the Stellar Blade soundtrack. So there's a lot in common in those two games. It's an action game. What can be said about Stellar Blade? The story is fun to follow. The big thing when it released was the look of the main character, because she's kinda hot, but a bit too hot for the internet. And man, the subreddit of Stellar Blade is just a bunch of people posting photos of Heath, the main character. And it's annoying, because there is a very good game behind the sexy main character. So I enjoyed the story, the music was amazing, it looked great. It was my first like real PS5 game, and yeah, Stellar Blade, what a game. Played it 3 times to get all the endings. Spent a lot of time, probably 100 hours on Stellar Blade. Then, on PS Plus, I've played Control. Control is made by the studio who made Alan Wake. And so you play this, man, now it's been a while. I've played this in April and didn't take too much notes. I can't remember the name of the main character, this is awful. But you play as this girl who's looking for a brother, and seems he's been kind of abducted by some kind of federal bureau of investigation. This is kind of a governmental place where they investigate weird stuff, you know, paranormal stuff. And so you get there, and you somehow, it's a very convoluted story. You kind of become the director, because the current director shooted himself in the head, and you were there, and you just become the director, but it's a lot of fun to follow. I cannot explain you the story, okay? I won't do that. But I've played the main game, I've played the Foundation DLC, and I played the AWE DLC, but not to the end. I got bored at some point. There was too much combat, not enough exploration. But Control is a kind of a third-person shooter game, but with some Metroidvania elements, because you can unlock some abilities that makes you able to go through some other places that were blocked before. It's a lot of fun. Control was quite amazing. On the PS5, I played the PS5 version. It's kind of an old game, released on PS4, but the upgraded PS5 version looked quite amazing. It was great. Then I've played Moonscars. Moonscars is a 2D Metroidvania light game. I talked about it on other places, other videos, but to me it's like if Grim Valor was a painting, because the game looks very painted. I, I I don't know how to explain it. You'll see it on the screen anyway. Um, it was really nice. Played this through completion, of course, because it's on this video. The performance was not that great. You know, it's a 2D game on the PS5, and there was those weird loading times. Sometimes the game would stutter a bit. It was weird to have those performances on this system, but I still enjoyed it a lot. I would recommend it. It's quite challenging, but if you're into action side-scroller game, it's great. The story was pretty cool too. It was a bit convoluted, kind of Souls-like in the story, but I quite enjoyed it. Then I've played Fight and Rage. This is a one-person made beat 'em up brawler type game. Think Streets of Rage, Final Fight, but indie, very very indie. And the game doesn't look all that great. I mean, it depends how you see it. I think it looked amazing personally, but you know, the animations and stuff, you can see it's not, you know, it's not a very high budget game. But god damn it plays amazing. It's so much fun to play. And you don't have those weird RPGs elements. You get all the moves right in the beginning, and it's just the perfect length too. I've played this quite a few times. It's challenging, the mechanics are really nice, the music's cool. It's Fight and Rage. What a beat 'em up. It's not, I mean, nothing is Streets of Rage 4 good for me. For me, like, Streets of Rage 4 is the best beat 'em up ever made. But Fight and Rage was... I loved how quick it plays. I love how everything was snappy and the game never stops. So, yeah, I quite like it. Then I've played on PS Plus Midnight Fight Express. It's kind of a beat 'em up, but it's not a side scroller. It's more of a, you know, bird's eye view. You're John Wick, okay? That's the game. You can use so much of the scenery, so much of what's on the screen to fight. You can kick chairs in the face of people. You can take a bottle and throw it at somebody. You can use guns. There's parries, there's counters, there's the fighting is so good. What's happening on the screen is just so amazing. The music is good. The story is pretty bad, I'll admit. And I did not enjoy that. The first playthrough was not the best, because this is one of those games where you get those strange unlock mechanics where you unlock move, but then when you replay the game you have all the moves unlocked, and then I always feel the game should have been like that right in the beginning, because this is when you've unlocked all the move that the game is at its best. So I think it's kind of annoying to have to unlock stuff. There's a lot of games that do that, and so yeah, in the first playthrough you have to unlock the moves, all the cool stuff basically, and you're always interrupted by the story that is, like I said, not very good. But then the second playthrough, you have all the moves unlocked, and there's an option to just say, don't show me the story, don't talk about the story, fast forward all the cutscenes, just give me the action, and this is where the game shines. It's all about the gameplay. Really enjoyed it. Then, still on PS Plus. This was this was a PS Plus year because I was quite a bit careful with my money. So, I've played Ghost of Tsushima. This is an open world action game. I think this is one of the best looking game I've ever seen, and it's not even a next gen game. It released on PS4, so to have a game that looks that good, yeah, it surprised me. The story was amazing. You're this kind of samurai that end up being, you know, he doesn't follow like the rules of the samurai, so he's kind of an outcast, but he's trying to save the island from the Mongols invader. The action is very, very good. I really enjoyed it. The music, the side characters, they were all pretty nice, and I enjoy that they did the open world pretty alright. You can skip most of the open world chores stuff that you usually get in those types of games and just follow the story. So it can be somewhat linear as a game, but I prefer that to repeating the three samey side quest for 100 hours. I cleared the game in 40 hours or something, and it was just right, because when I finished, there was a DLC included in the PS Plus version. I started the DLC and I was like, I don't know, I'm ready to move on. I'm done with this. At some point it became a bit samey. You have those infiltration type of mission where you have to liberate some villages from the invader, and it's all about, you know, being stealthy and kill the leader. And at some point, once I got the whole story wrapped up, I was definitely ready to move on. Not one of my favorite games ever, even though I know like it's one of many people's favorite game ever made, but it's not that good for me. But man, it looked great, plays fantastic. It was a lot of fun. I'm happy that I was able to experience this. Then I've played Kena, Bridge of Spirits. So this is kind of like Beyond Good and Evil or Star Fox Adventure. It's a third-person action-adventure game with some light puzzle element. You're playing as Kena, and she ah man. See, I need to take more notes. I mean, I've played the game like 3 times. She helps spirits that are stuck here go to the afterlife, basically. I just don't remember how it's called. She has like a title. It's kind of a job, like she's sending spirits home, basically. And it looks like a Pixar game, but it plays like Dark Souls. It's very challenging. You have your melee attack, your bow attack, there's some magic, and you have those little creatures that are following you around, and you can dress them up with little hats, and they're doing a bunch of things like moving stuff for you or go get something for you. Kena was a lot of fun. I enjoyed everything about this game. I really want to own it now because I have it on PS Plus, but all of those services, you can never rely on them. At some point the game won't be available on it. And I really want to own the game. It's really good. It's made by an indie company. it came out from nowhere, and I was very, very surprised with this. Fantastic game. Then I played a mobile game. It's called Maximus 2. Played it with my daughter. It's just a beat 'em up. It's kind of like Streets of Rage, but from Wish.com. I have nothing to say about this. I had fun with my daughter. You can play like 2 players on the same screen with controllers, and so we've played the game. It was a lot of fun, but it's just a brawler, pretty basic. You have a bunch of stuff you can unlock, but we've played it once, and it was pretty much it. Then with my daughter again, then I was back to work. Now here we're like in June. We've played TMNT Wrath of the Mutants. Last year I've played TMNT Splintered Fate. It was amazing. It's a roguelite, kind of like Hades. And so I really got into like TMNT, read IDW comics, watched 2K3 shows, replayed a bunch of old games, and all of that. And so when I was at work and I got my hands on TMNT Wrath of the Mutants and thought, hey, I'll bring that home for the weekend. And so I played the game, the whole game with my daughter. It's like a 2 hours game. It was mediocre at best. It was not very good. It's a beat 'em up, and I did not enjoy it all that much. Same for my daughter. She was not too much into it. It was not great. Then I've played Gungrave G.O.R.E. This is a very, very arcade type game. You know those games in the arcade where you have a gun and you shoot. I mean, you have like a gun in your hands, and you know the controller is a gun, like a light gun. And this is kind of a recreation of that. Obviously, you play with your controller, but you're playing as this dude. You don't know if he's dead or alive. It's very weird. I know nothing of Gungrave. It's a series. There's other games. Never played them. The story was super convoluted. I did not understand most of what was happening, but what I understood was that I was walking around shooting stuff and getting points, and that was very good. That part of the game, fantastic. I thought it looked great, and it was a lot of fun to play. I've seen most people online hating on the game. I understand that, I respect that. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I suppose maybe it was not faithful to the series, I don't know, never played any of them. But Gungrave G.O.R.E. I enjoyed, played it all the way through, at least twice. Then I moved on to something else, which was Eternights. Eternights is an indie action game, a third-person action game. You get your at the beginning you get your arm cut off, and it becomes this kind of light. You emit light. You get like a magical arm, we'll say. And it's basically the end of the world. Everybody turn into some kind of zombies, and you have your little group of people, and you're trying to save the world. And there is definitely some elements from Persona, because it's like during the day you go in dungeons and you hack and slash your way through. You get level ups and stuff. It's an action game, but then you have the other half of the game that is some kind of dating sim, where you spend time and build up relationships with the NPCs. And it was just a lot of fun. It's an indie game. first game from the studios, and I really enjoyed it. The music was nice. Visually, they're using light in a way I've never seen before. The game is all super dark. Everything is quite dark. But then you have those lights, like when you slash, and some elements of the backgrounds, and it was great. Hope that the video will help, because I have trouble explaining it, but played the whole way through the whole game. It was like 10 hours or so. Only played it once. I do plan to play it again, but there's so many games to play, man. There's just so many. I cannot keep up, so I haven't played Elden Ring yet. I want to play Elden Ring. This is my goal for 2025. Play through Elden Ring. But the next game I've played is not Elden Ring. It's Untitled Goose game. This is you're playing as a goose and you annoy people in a small village. That's the game. It was on PS Plus, and the deal with this game is that you can play 2 players on the same screen. So I've played that with my daughter, and we had a lot of fun annoying people and trying to... It's kind of a puzzle game in a way, because I mean, it's all in real time, in 3D and stuff, but you know, let's say you need to open this door. So to open this door, you will have to make the gardener go open it, and to make the gardener go open it, you'll have to steal his hat and bring the hat near to the door. Or there's a bunch of those types of puzzle where you need to distract somebody to go steal something to open up those next place. And it was a lot of fun to figure out. Took us maybe 4 or 5 hours to get through. It's not a challenging game. It's a city game. It's a very city game. It looked great. We enjoyed it quite a bit. Then it was vacation time. Summer vacation. We rented some kind of shack in New Brunswick near the beach, and just before we left, I've bought myself a mobile game, which is Art of Rally. Art of Rally is a rally game with particular physics. Like, I don't think it's realistic. I've never, drove a rally car, but there is something that feels realistic. If you take a curve too fast, you'll end up on the side of the road. You won't make it. It's a game where you really need to brake, take turns slowly, and then accelerate as fast as you can. And it's not a racing game in the sense that you don't race other people. You not in real time. You just try to beat your time. I mean, you can beat the NPC's time, but you don't see them race with you. It's yeah. Am I making sense? I'm tired. It's late. but it's fantastic. I've played it for like 20 hours just during the time that we were on vacation. Yeah, the Art of Rally, man, what a great game. Then we were back home, and I've played Cat Quest 2 with my daughter again. Looking back through the year, I've played a lot of games with my daughter this year. I played a lot of couch co-op. We played a lot of other couch co-op games, but not to completion, so I cannot include them here. But one we've played through completion is Cat Quest 2. This is an action RPG where you play a cat and a dog, and you have to save the world. And it it was a lot of fun. There's a bunch of puns, of cat puns. It's very, there's a lot of comedy in Cat Quest 2. I did not enjoy it as much as the internet says I would. I have Mike on my Discord channel who recommended it to me, that really enjoys it. And he's not alone. A lot of people are speaking very highly of Cat Quest, the whole series. And I thought it was alright. It was not super challenging. The world is not that big. You level up, go into those caves to get upgrades to your equipment. There's a few different type of build you can do. You can be more of a magic caster and attack from afar, or you can be more of a warrior and be, you know, not hand to hand, but close combat. And when you play two players, it's great because one can be more in the back, one more in the front. And it was fun. And the puns were funny, and the game looked great. But you know, if I didn't play it with my daughter multiplayer, I would not have finished it. But we were, she was invested, and I finished it with her. Then I've bought a game on release, which is not something I do often, and I've bought it because of the high praise of the Electric Underground, which is a YouTube channel you should all go and look into. He just started doing this full time this year. He's been doing YouTube stuff for years, but this year he started doing YouTube full time, and I love his in-depth reviews. He's a guy that is into mechanics. His channel is made up of shmups, critique, and 1cc and stuff like that. But he's talking more and more about modern games and modern game design, and still he's talking about a lot of arcade and retro stuff. But anyway, he reviewed Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, and it really spoke to me. It's a 2D side-scroller game. It's a remake of an old NES game, and it's remade by the same guys who made the game back in the days. And it's incredibly challenging. It's a very commitment-heavy game. It's the way it plays, it's like if you attack, you'll have to wait for the attack animation to be done to jump, let's say. Or if you jump, you'll have to wait for the jump animation to do something else. You cannot cancel your moves. So you have to think a bit about what you're doing. If you're just mashing buttons, it's not gonna work. So it's a challenging game. You have to learn the stages to know where to go, and I got my 1cc in the game. I was very happy about it. Made a video where I commented my run. It was well received. I really enjoyed Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, and so it got me into this. The company that made this game is Tango Project, and those dudes are remaking all their old games. And so after playing Shadow of the Ninja Reborn, I got the Ninja Saviors Return of the Warriors on sale. And this is a side-scroller, kind of a beat-em-up, but it plays a bit differently than a beat-em-up. You'll see it on the screen. It's really good. It's just so good. It's so retro, and it's so well done. The pixel art is on point, the music's great, and the gameplay is just flawless. I really enjoyed the Ninja Saviors. I just don't have a lot to say. It's a side scroller, and then I've I bought Wild Guns Reloaded. It's a gallery shooter. It's another remake of Wild Guns that was released on the SNES, which I played on my little... I'm all over the place. We're almost done. I've bought myself a Miu Mini Plus. It's a little emulator machine where you can play like Game Boy, NES, SNES, Game Boy Advanced, Sega, those types of console up to PS1. And so I've played a bunch of retro games, and I've played Wild Guns, the original on SNES. Played that through completion, and then I've bought the reloaded version on my PS5. And it's just so good. I don't think I've released it yet, but I've got my 1cc in Wild Guns and made a playthrough with commentary. Yeah, it's a gallery shooter. It's very challenging, but it's a lot of fun. Highly recommended. And then on my Miu Mini, I've played Mario Land, which is a Game Boy game. It's a game I had when I was young. I loved it, and I was very happy to go back and play it. And I was surprised to see that it's a 30-minute game. I've started the game, did not intended to finish it, but I was playing the game. I had fun, and I was, oh yeah, one more stage, and at some point it was the end, and I was like, wait, what? Already? It's so funny to play those old games and see how actually short they are. But Mario Land is great. There's even like stages where you're in a little plane and you shoot bullets at the enemies. It's a nice change of pace. And we are at the last game on the list, which is Sorcery. So what happened after my retro game stuff is that I got into game books. I started reading again, which is something I haven't done in a few years. And I've reread all my Lone Wolf book. It's if you're not familiar, in the 90s, it choose your own adventure books were very big. It's those books where you read the book, and at the end of the paragraph you'll have like, oh, do you want to go left or go right? And if you go right, you go to page 100, and if you go left, you go to page 60. And so, and then there's combats, and you can find some objects, and you write them on a sheet of paper. It's your inventory. And so I got really into game books. I haven't played that much games in the last month, I would say. I'm reading. And so I got for free, like years ago, on my iPad, the first Sorcery game, which is a game version of an old 90s game book. And so I've played / read that on my iPad, and it was a lot of fun. Did not enjoy the combat too much. You have some turn-based combat. It was weird, but the story was nice. I really like how the presentation was. But the game ends on a very big cliffhanger, and I'm not sure. I mean, I understand why. There's 4 Sorcery games, and they all the continuation of one another. And the reason there's 4 games is that they can sell you the game 4 times. But like the first Sorcery game, I died a few times, so I started back to change some choices and stuff. But I think I've played that for like 2-3 hours max. Like max, probably less. And seeing it end on that big of a cliffhanger was kind of weird, because I thought, well, they should have just put it all in one game, it would have been better, I think. I would still recommend it. Just don't think you'll just buy the first one and have a complete story. It's not. It's really not. You need to buy the other ones to see through the whole thing. Um, but I got it for free years ago. Thought I would give it a shot. I enjoyed it enough to finish it. And then, I'm keeping an eye out to get the other ones because I am kind of invested in the story. It was pretty good, but we'll see. I've put that on hold for now. So that was it. Those were the games I've completed this year. I've finished 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 26 games this year that I've finished. It's not that bad. I was looking at my PlayStation recap. I should make a video on this, and I've played like 180 games this year, but I've only finished like 26. So this is how it works. And with that, I succeeded in doing this video in less than an hour, which is pretty good. Hope you've enjoyed it. I love doing those every year. See what I've been finishing during the year. Let me know in the comment section what you've finished. What games did you play through completion this year? I expect to have a comment from Linda the Gamer Gal. I'll put a link to her channel in the description. She's the reason I'm doing this, in the sense that every month she's doing a video kind of like that, where she talks about the games she beats during the month. I don't play enough games to make this video every month, so I'm doing it yearly, but she's the inspiration of this video, so go watch her stuff. She's great. And yeah, with all of that said, it's enough now. My voice is dying on me, so go do something else. Go play games. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.